If anyone harasses, attacks, or discriminates you for speaking in English in the Philippines, then that person is either a child or stupid. Just kidding! Or am I? Anyway, welcome to the Philippines, a country that has many languages but is mostly bilingual. In the capital, we speak mostly Filipino and English, but most people, especially people who grew up in the 90s and earlier, learned how to speak Filipino first, which makes sense because that really is the real language of this country. English is really just a secondary language here. However, there are a few people, including me, okay, not a few, but I guess a minority of people who grew up speaking in English, who learned English first. We are referred to as English First Language Filipinos, or EFL. And as someone who is part of that minority, I can confirm that my life was actually not normal. I mean, it's not all too bad. It's not all bad. There are some good stuff about it. I mean, yes, there was discrimination. Yes, there was bullying. Yes, there were double standards. But it's not all about that. There were also some fun stuff like the jokes, getting called Dude Parechong, or more accurately, Dude Parechong. I mean, it's not the most unique or dramatic situation to be in, but I think it still makes for a very unique and very interesting story. So to celebrate this year's Buwan ng Wika, in English, Month of Language, where we would normally celebrate the Filipino language, I thought of maybe reversing the concept. That was pretty cool, right? It's cool, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Filipino language. It's a very beautiful language. Mahal ko ang aking wika. Pretty good for a Konyo, right? Right? Yeah, I just thought it would be a really interesting story to tell as part of Buwan ng Wika. A story about someone who started with the secondary language of the Philippines. A story about how that person had to adapt, had to grow, but at the same time, have a lot of fun. Because yes, like I said, it's not all just the bad stuff. Being an EFL also has a lot of fun aspects to it. Okay, so we're gonna start with what I'm sure a lot of you came here for. The drama, the discrimination, all that edgy stuff. Yes, I have experienced discrimination, bullying, because of speaking English. Why are people still flying planes in a pandemic? What the f***, guys? Anyway, back to the topic. Yes, I did get discriminated and bullied, but on the bright side, it did lessen over time. Now, why do English-speaking Filipinos get bullied as kids? Based on my observation, here's why. The Filipino language is actually a very masculine, very tough language. Uy, pare, uy. Uy, tara, sapakan tayo. Pare, mahal kita. Mahal na mahal kita. Yeah, it's a very manly language, and in contrast, English is actually a very smooth language compared to Filipino. So as a kid, when you speak English, people would see you as a lesser man. People would call you gay, actually. And by the way, ladies, I am not gay. I am single. Just so you know. I mean, I know it's still sad that children have experienced this as children. Children in a vulnerable mental state getting bullied could leave scars that may remain in the future, which is sad, of course. And what's even sadder is that it's hard to blame the other children who were bullying the children. Because, I mean, of course they're children, of course they're stupid, it's hard to blame them. Yes, it's a sad reality. But the good thing is, I realized more parents are teaching their children how to speak English at an early age. More parents are teaching their children how to speak both languages, both English and Filipino. And I think that's a good sign. I believe that kind of practice could build a respect between the bilingual community and the more monolingual communities, and makes me think that maybe things can change. And other times, I also felt that people weren't really comfortable with me speaking in English because either they don't understand what I'm saying or they just found it so different. Well, yeah, I can't really fully blame them for that, though. I guess that's the more understandable side of things. Although, funny thing though, I actually studied grade school and high school in a school that's supposed to be mostly English speaking. However, my batch was actually a very Filipino batch. like a very Filipino batch compared to the other batches, at least. So yeah, like I really had to learn how to speak Filipino. I had to learn like colloquial Filipino language. By the way, I am not a Philam. I learned English as my first language because that's what my parents wanted me to learn first. Maybe they thought it would help me. Well, it kind of does, actually. It's literally the only thing I'm good at. But yeah, like I said, it got better over time because as people grow up, they become more mature, they become smarter. It lessened over time. And then when we come to an age when we're all mature, like college and in the workplace, yeah, people will no longer discriminate you for being an Inglesero or a Conyo. I mean, maybe there still is a bit, but it's not so much anymore compared to grade school and early high school. Anyway, fast forward to my college life. I actually went to a college that's a more general community. Like, it's not a Conyo school, it's not a social school, it's a school where you'd find people from all walks of life. Like, there are rich people, lower class, middle class people. You'd find every type of person in that school, the school where I attended college. And the cool thing is that even though this was like not an English speaking school per se, the people still welcomed me. I was able to make a lot of friends in college. And not all of them were English speaking. Some of them were. But like some of them were like mostly Filipino, but they still speak English as a second language. But yeah, like I made a lot of friends. And I guess that really comes to show that as people grow older, or as people mature, they'd be more willing to accept differences. And they'd be more willing to make friends with others despite how different they are. And I really loved that. I did. I mean, there were still like some people, like just a bit, some people who'd treat me weirdly. But like these were usually just like the mannerless people who probably weren't raised well by their parents. Anyway, let's talk more about the fun things. Yes, one thing I loved about being Conyo were all the jokes, like saying Filipino sentences with like an American English accent. Uy pare, kamusta dyan? Kamusta ka? Pagod na ako, ayoko na. Ayoko na! And I just find that so funny. And you know the typical dude pare chong, yeah. Never gets old. Okay, maybe it will get old. Okay, guys, don't overuse that term. Okay, it might actually get old. And another cool thing about being a Conyo is that people will find you funny and interesting because, like, of course, it's gonna make you stand out. Of course, it's somehow an asset in a way. I don't want to say it makes you special, but it does make you unique. Okay, now let's talk about the thing I actually hate the most about being an EFL. When I was in college, I actually had a professor who treated me differently from other students. This professor, by the way, I won't say the names of the schools in this video. I don't want to get in trouble, okay? Anyway, this professor was an English professor, and he really treated me differently from my classmates. Like, he was stricter on me. He was actually quite rude to me. He always talked to me with this condescending manner. And I hated it. And whenever like we had recitation, he was always stricter towards me. I mean, he didn't fail me, but like he made it harder for me. At least I felt that he made it harder for me. He probably thought that because I'm an EFL, I already have a higher edge compared to my classmates in terms of English. But the thing is, it's still very unfair. Here's why. It's because my parents pay the same tuition as the parents of my classmates. Therefore, we should be treated as equals in the classroom. And yet this professor expected way too much from me just because I'm an EFL. Anyway, yeah, I actually like how the Philippines speaks both English and Filipino because these two languages mesh well together. So well. Like most Filipinos are actually comfortable with speaking Taglish rather than pure Filipino or pure English. For example, wait lang! Oh yeah, I saw that kanina. Like, I am a firm believer of the marriage between the English and the Filipino languages. It's a perfect match, if you ask me. A better match than you and your girlfriend. So yeah, basically, in the end, I guess we can conclude that because English is really just a second language in the Philippines, it wasn't really widely spoken, so not everyone is comfortable speaking English. and not everyone likes the language. But I can also say the same for Filipino. Not a lot of people like speaking full Filipino. Like I said a while ago, in the end of the day, most people resort to combining the two languages, which I actually think is a nice thing. Anyway, on the bright side, the social barriers between EFLs and non-EFLs, I believe, is actually shrinking over time. It's becoming less and less of an issue as more people are learning English. The internet exposes more people to English. And EFLs like me are more exposed to Filipino now because of the increasing interactions between different social groups through the internet also. And yeah, that's my story. I hope you found my story entertaining somehow. I actually do plan to make more Buwan ng Wika videos. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like the video. And I hope you stick with my channel to see more of what I can offer. I do discussion videos. I do voice acting demos in this channel. And if you like toys, anime, action figures, you can check out my other channel, Nichols Toys. Link in the description. So yeah, I hope you have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year ahead. See you guys next time. Paalam. Sa muling pagkikita.